Good evening and welcome back to Power to Change. I am Jean Lynn. I am your host this evening, and tonight I just want to talk with you regarding your failures. Failure not being an option. We are in a time where we have to keep moving forward. And so tonight I just want to share with you just a few words of encouragement, just letting you know that failure truly is not an option. I just stopped by tonight to let us know that in all the things we experience and all the things that we go through, failure is certainly not an option. Moses was raised as an Egyptian prince. He was later guilty of being a murderer. And for many years, Moses ran from his problems. He ran from his problems so much so that he left a country that was familiar to him to flee to a faraway land. Meanwhile, God was hearing the cry of his children who were enslaved in Egypt. God chose Moses to lead the people of Israel out of Egypt. Moses used the common phrase that we use still today, and that phrase is, I am not qualified. I am not qualified. I stopped by this afternoon to let you know that we all have the qualifications to be used by God. We as a people have to learn to recognize that we have all the privileges that have been afforded to us, even when it doesn't look like it. Parents need to stop depending on the millionaire qualities of their children so that they can make it to the next place. We need to understand that if we are trying to get to a next place, instead of depending on the qualities that we see in our children, we need to go back to school if that opportunity is available to us and get the tools that we need to help us be successful along with our children. So when our children are at a crossroads or at a place of impasse, we can then still teach them how to keep moving forward. There are so many generational curses that we are still stuck in because we fail to hear the voice of the Lord telling us how to get out. It's so easy to make excuses for the things that come up in our lives. It's easy to say, I can't. It's easy to say, well, that'll never happen. It's easy to say, well, nobody else made it. What makes me think I can? Well, I'm here tonight to tell you that with God, you can. With God, we can. We can do, we can accomplish, we can make, we can be successful, we can arrive, we can overcome, we can conquer, we can do all those things through Christ. God gives us the strength every day that he wakes us. We have been blessed. We have been afforded the chance and another opportunity to get it right where we missed it on yesterday. So I stand before you tonight to let you know that failure is not an option. When God stirred us up this morning, whether we had aches and pains in our bodies or not, whether we just jumped up out of the bed, God said we can. He has given us another opportunity to get it right. And I just wanted to give you some encouragement this evening and just give you some ways to help you begin to walk away from some of those things that have kept us tied up. And I include myself in this. We all at some point or other are guilty of getting caught up in this trap, this place in our life and in our lifetimes when we are faced with obstacles and we don't know what to do and we don't know who to call on, and sometimes the only thing we know how to do is pick up the telephone and dial mama and dial sister so-and-so and brother so-and-so, and then we start listening to mother, and then we start listening to father, and then we start listening to brother and sister so-and-so, and we get so off track and we get so distracted because then we stop listening to the voice of God. God starts speaking to us. He starts whispering to us and we don't understand, and we don't know the sound of his voice anymore because we've spent so much time listening to our friends. And we spend so much time listening to people that are dreaming or wishing that they're in our situation. And they may see that it looks like things are perfect from the outside. They're looking on the outside, but they don't see what's going on the inside. They don't know that when you go home from work in the evening, that you have to condition yourself to accept the licks or accept the blows that somebody's about to throw at you. They don't know that when you go home, your husband or your wife has left the house and you don't know when they're coming back home. They don't know that these are the things that you have to deal with on a daily basis. They don't understand it. And so what I want to try to help you do tonight, if you are listening to me, or whenever you hear this message, is to know that there is a God that cares about you more than anything, more than anyone can ever care about you. There is a love from a God that goes so deep that it doesn't matter the situation that you're in. If you learn to hear the voice of a God that's whispering to you, if you learn to reach out to the hand of the God that's just standing right there waiting for you, you'll learn how to get the strength, and you'll gain the strength, the courage to be able to walk away from situations that somebody might tell you that you'll never be able to make it away from. And what I just want to tell you as I go through this is just again to give you a few tips on things to do. Married men and women, I just want to encourage you to stop hanging around single individuals that have never been married, that are willing to give advice on how to ease the problems that are in your household. You will find that the very ones that are giving you advice and trying to help you out in your situation are the very ones that are going to be there waiting to pick up the pieces when your marriage doesn't work. And parents, I want you to care about your children enough to make sure that you know who they're spending time with. If you're not taking the time to find out, you may be giving easy access to the enemy. The enemy is anyone that does not have your best interest at heart. And I'm speaking on the hearts of the children because right now, where we stand, they are the generation that is going to help bring us through. So therefore, we have to plant the seeds while we are able to give them what they need, so when they are met with the obstacles that we were not successful at, that they will know how to overcome them. So, as parents, continue to pay attention to your children. Make sure you know who it is that they're spending time with. Leave the door open for them to be able to come and talk to you and express in honesty and in sincerity about the things that they are experiencing in their lives. I think one of the biggest things that we as parents fail to do is remember that we were there once also. And remember how it felt when we didn't have somebody to go and talk to. So I just encourage you to embrace your children with the love and compassion that they need, because they are dealing with a greater level of anxiety from peers and from society as a whole, from the television, from the teachers, from the jobs, from music. All of the things that they have access to is room and a door to add conflict in their lives. One thing that is truly prevalent in our young people today is the ease of getting into things that can harm them spiritually and physically. And again, I just want to encourage you to teach your children with love and example. Love is the best thing that we can offer to our children. A spirit of love without pretense. Unconditional love, the same kind of love that God showed to us when he sent his son, when he sacrificed his son, when he said, I'm giving my son, I'm giving my only son to save you. He sacrificed his son. He allowed his son to stay. He allowed his son to die so we could have a chance to ask for forgiveness, so we would have a chance to be able to go before the throne, so we would be able to go before God. And all he's asking us is the same thing. He gave us love. He's asking us to give love back. Yes, we've been hurt. Yes, we've been wounded. But God forgave us. He forgave us. And he's asking us to do the same. It is so hard to love when you do not have forgiveness in your heart. It is impossible to change. It is impossible to get to your next place if you do not have love in your heart. It is imperative. It is life. It is a life or death situation to not have a love in your heart. And I just want to let you know, in order to teach our children in love and in order to teach our children by example, that means that we have to own up to some things. That means we cannot be a hypocrite. Hypocrite meaning telling our kids one thing and then they see us doing another thing. Wherever you are, we can't tell our children don't smoke and drink alcohol, and then you're smoking and you're drinking alcohol in front of them. Some people get drunk in front of them, but we tell them don't do it. That is not a lead by example. We're causing them to stumble. We are not allowing them the choice. If we say that it's all right, and if we do things that we know are harmful to ourselves, and we make that be okay, then we have eliminated the choice. We have eliminated the ability for our children to choose for themselves which way they want to go. And I'm prayerful that as I give you this information and then as I deliver this message tonight, that you will at least consider that your children have a choice. Even if you think that you have gotten beyond the point that you don't have a choice, give your children the opportunity to choose a life that's better than the one that we've had, a life that's more healthy than the ones that we've had. And if you have just a little bit of hope, then know that it is still not too late for you. I want us to recognize today that there is a way to step outside the things that we are used to. I want us to know today that it is okay to walk by faith and not by sight. It is okay to step away from the people that surround you on a regular basis and bring confusion into your life. It is okay to say no when you don't feel right about doing something. God has freed us from bondage. We don't have a tag that says we belong to the enemy. Quite the contrary, we have been given the papers of freedom, and we need to know that we can walk in victory. Don't you know that as children of God, we are not defeated? Don't you know that as children of God and in faith, when you walk, you have the ability to speak to your situation? Don't you know that life and death are in the tongue? Don't you know that when you open your mouth that you can speak to your situation and you can say to your situation that this is not the way that I intend to be? God has given you you the authority. He has given you the ability. He has given you the power to speak to those things in your situation that are causing you to be bound. So as you hear my voice on tonight, know that the presence and the Spirit of God is speaking to you in such a way that you should be able to look at your situation in the face and call it by the name that it is and say, "Get thee behind me." And if that's drugs, and if that's alcohol, if that's sex addiction, whatever it is that is causing you to stumble, that is causing you to fall, God is giving you the victory on tonight. He's giving you the authority on tonight to speak to your situation so you can come on up on the other side. You have the ability to come on up on the other side. I serve a God that is true. I serve a God that is certainly able to do exceedingly above all the things that we could ever think or imagine. So I challenge you on today. I challenge you to step up from where you are. I challenge you to get up off that seat that you're sitting on. I challenge you, for whatever position that you're in right now, that you cannot see your way out. I dare you to surrender. I dare you to lift your hands in submission to a God that is able to set you free, to bring you out of your Egypt and take you into your promise. I dare you to surrender yourself to a God that is able to heal your body from the disease that has afflicted you for so long. I dare you to surrender your mind and your spirit to a God that is able to restore you to a place that when you look and when you open your eyes, your dark days are no longer dark, but you can see the sunshine that God has allowed you to be able to see. I thank God today because He woke me up in my right mind. I thank God today because He woke me up in the right spirit. So as I stand before you this evening, for whoever has the good fortune to pass on by me today, who had the good fortune to stop by just for a little while, I thank God for today. I thank God for today because I was obedient on today. I took the first step on today. I took the step to move forward. I took the step to move into my next place. I am going into my new season because God said I can. God gave me a voice and He said I don't have to be quiet any longer. God has given me the ability to speak into my situation as well as other individuals' situation. So believe me when I say to you that if you trust and believe in God, if you have just a little bit of faith, if you pray with me, I will pray with you and I will pray you to the other side. Because God has given you the victory. I believe it with everything that is on the inside of me. I believe it with all the power and the authority that has been vested in me. That by the grace of God, that you will be healed on today. That by the grace of God, you will be delivered on today. And by the grace of God, that whatever afflictions and whatever things that are holding you in place, that you can't move to your next level, in the name of Jesus, on tonight, you will begin to see your life change. But you got to trust it and you got to believe it. Not because I said it, because I believe it, but you have to believe it to be so. I thank God for this evening. I thank God for tonight, and I certainly thank Him for this opportunity. Because if it had not been for the God that I serve, He knows that I wouldn't be where I am right now. He brought me out of darkness, and I don't have a choice but to praise Him. I don't have a choice but to walk the steps that He has ordered for me to walk. Because I will not go back to where He brought me from. And if I go back to where he brought me from, you better believe I'm going to bring somebody else out. So I thank God on tonight. I thank God for those of you that were able to stop by. And I just encourage you on tonight that if you hear my voice, that you would harden not your hearts, Lord, but that you would walk forward. You would be able to walk into the ability and the strength that God has given you on tonight. And I thank God for you, and I thank you, and I just ask you that if it be God's will, that you would return to this place yet again on another day. And I just ask God for all the blessings that have been bestowed upon us this evening, and I thank you. I thank God for you, and God bless you until we meet again.